Now, as technology continues to improve, law enforcement is taking steps to utilize facial recognition for their body cameras. But one California lawmaker who by mistake matched up as a criminal by the technology is doing everything he can to put a stop to it. RT correspondent Natasha Sweet has the story from LA.
Law enforcement putting their lives on the line every day, having to react to a life or death situation within seconds. It's no surprise they want more accuracy. So as officers are looking to incorporate facial recognition as a tool, a group of California lawmakers are fighting against it as hard as they can. It's no surprise Assemblyman Phil Ting, a Democrat representing San Francisco, was appalled when he learned his image came up positive as a criminal. The American Civil Liberties Union of Northern California ran an experiment testing Amazon's facial recognition software. It screened 120 lawmakers' images against a database of 25,000 mugshots. The program falsely identified one of 5 lawmakers, including Ting. So now Ting has drafted Assembly Bill 1215, which would prohibit police departments from using facial recognition technology on body cameras. The bill claims that facial recognition and other biometric surveillance would corrupt the core purpose of officer body-worn cameras. Ting says clearly this is faulty software. It really should not be used by any law enforcement agency at this point. Body cameras are there to build trust, not to tear it down. There are 26 Assembly members backing the bill. According to the ACLU, all of them were falsely identified as criminals using Amazon's facial recognition. But some officers in the line of fire, including the California Peace Officers Association, sees it differently. The association's deputy director said in a statement, "We're concerned that Ting's bill is an attempt to wipe out something that could identify repeat offenders, could solve cold cases and old crimes, and deter future crime." According to the National Institute of Justice, research conducted on 400 Las Vegas police officers reveals a higher number of arrests and citations when officers were wearing body cameras. As Amazon adds fear detection and also age range estimation to its technology, U.S. Customs and the Border Patrol are in talks with the tech giant about a potential $950 million contract. The CBP currently uses facial recognition in some airports, like the one in Mexico City. Ting's bill passed the Assembly back in May. The bill is now seeking approval in the Senate. In Los Angeles, Natasha Sweet, RT.
Let's go further in depth and bring in legal media analyst Lionel. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, I know you're thinking of jokes. Let's see. Is it facial recognition or maybe just prediction? I mean, politicians mistaken for criminals. Maybe there's something more to this, but we'll stick to the subject on this one. Technology isn't perfect. Is that a surprise? And should that actually hinder in this case?
Not only is technology not perfect, the criminal justice system is not perfect. I want you to think about this, Scotty. How many times a week do you hear that somebody was just released from prison for serving a sentence for rape or murder, who was put there by bad eyewitness testimony, lying police? Jeffrey Epstein whacked in his cell and the MCC. I mean, this is great, and I applaud it, and I think it's wonderful. We have right now people who are pulled over daily for drunk driving, and police use horizontal gaze nystagmus, field sobriety tests that are a joke. Now, what I'm saying is, this is great, but we should do a show called What's Wrong with the System? And while I think this needs to be looked at, Scotty, there's now evidence that there's going to be biometric devices where you can tell if people are gay, people are, let's say, who have different diabetic problems as well, where you're going to be able to diagnose diseases. Now, the problem is, aside from those being wrong, Scotty, where do all of these pictures and photos and data go? How long do they go? What happens to this? We are being just washed in this vacuum cleaner world of data. But we also have a system where there are people who are sitting there just based upon bad eyewitness testimony. Right. I mean, the system is corrupt and horrible as it is. So while I applaud people for doing something about this, let's start with the whole system.
Oh, well, exactly. But unfortunately, we don't have that much time, I guess, to just scrap the whole system. I wish we could. But this also reminds me of what polygraph was even 20 years ago in the 80s, and they scrapped that from being used because they said, well, you can get around it. There was always, should the Border Control, do you think, as this Border Patrol and other law enforcement scrap this whole idea of using facial recognition until it's 100% accurate? Or would it not be, I'm about to say, should it not make more sense to have layers? Say, well, then let's have 2 or 3 things in place to make sure before we demonize somebody or go after somebody for a criminal act.
Listen, absolutely not. In fact, we have dogs that sniff sometimes incorrectly. How about this? We have Border Patrol, massive border searches, DWI checkpoints, which translate into a complete and total destruction of probable cause, where people are not presumed innocent, but you are presumed, you are corralled into this. We work around that as well. The drug courier profile, they've been doing that since the 70s. So I've got news for you. There are so many programs that are so horrible and terrible. We have people who sit in customs, old-timers who say, why is he wearing a sweater? It's hot today. Stop him. That works too. That's effective and also ineffective. So, Scotty, the answer to this is it takes a balance, and it takes constant review of this situation. Because while it's imperfect, believe it or not, they really catch a lot of bad people. And nobody wants to hear about this. New York stop and frisk, a lot of civil libertarians, myself included, say it is rife with error. But it got more guns off the streets than you can imagine. So it's all about balance.
Balance and common sense. Lionel, what is going on? You must have gotten up on the right side of bed this morning, ate a good healthy breakfast. But the one thing. It's that. Well, yes, no, I know. But at this point, that's what's lacking in all this. They're saying this is just Amazon trying to make more money off of the government. Do you feel that way about it, or do you truly think for once maybe somebody's actually trying to create a solution for a problem that we have?
Do you and I don't remember this, but when people came up with the idea of using fingerprints as a means of cracking cases, they said, what? Fingerprints? What are you talking about? Do you know that nose prints and ear prints are also going to be next? So listen, we cannot poo-poo science, but always make sure that in whatever system you use, you have another system where you can review cases and always check the accuracy. Well, that's what we need to do.
And I always check your accuracy and fact check me as 100% true. Thank you so much, Lionel, for joining us.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.